March Madness is back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I'm your host as always, Ronnie P. And joining me, the founder, the chief, the CEO of Line Sniper himself, Mr. Danny Chan. I know you're pumped for March Madness, man, right?
I'm excited, especially after watching those conference tourneys this weekend. I'm pretty excited to get this tournament going.
Hey, so Danny, let me just ask you a quick question. This conference tourney, I don't know if you watched the LSU-Alabama game. Okay, 7 seconds left on the clock. Dribble, 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 2, 1, step back 3. Like, what are these kids thinking?
It's been a crazy conference tourney. You know, you saw Baylor get knocked out of their conference tourney.
Yeah.
You saw 100 to 1 shot in Oregon State win their conference tourney. It's one of these years with given COVID. You saw Kansas, you saw Virginia pull out. It's really a weird year for these teams. It seems like anything can go, and there's no, that traditional Duke, first starting 5, 3 of them are going top 5 in the draft type team.
No. Dude, Gonzaga's number 1. Like, just think about that. I'm no disrespect to Gonzaga, but like, when have they ever been number 1? When? Like, it's just a crazy year, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's madness already.
To bet them, you have to bet them at like plus 200, and if you
that.
look at their schedule, etc., as we said, we're not betting the big favorites. We go with the opposites this year and hope that one of these long shots come through.
Well, I personally got to thank you because I was almost pulled the trigger on Michigan, and Livers is out for the whole entire tournament. They're done. So thank you. I owe you for that. Appreciate that. They are such a different team when he's not in there. It's just insane. But it was a great slate of games this weekend. It was such a fun weekend. It's always fun to win. One big, man. Ohio State, man. Thank you, Ohio State. Colorado was great for me for the weekend. Michigan, it was great, man. How'd you do?
I did all right this weekend, honestly. I'm really looking forward to this portfolio playing out during the NCAA tournament. We got some good positions already here. We got Arkansas to make the Final Four at, I think, 14 to 1, which is a great price. Purdue at 25 to 1 to make the Final Four, which is also a great price. So, looking at this bracket, there's definitely some interesting things that could happen. So, hopefully, cross our fingers, things roll in our direction. But we'll see.
And we have a lot of good sleeper teams, like Ohio State. Like, dude, they looked amazing. Now I know they lost, but there's no quitting that team, man. Like that, they're going to be a deadly.
You'd think they're a sleeper team for the price we bet them at. I think we bet them at 30 to 1.
I know, that's what I'm saying, man.
They're the 2 seed going into the tournament. We're going to be betting some real sleeper teams this week. So I'm excited to talk about some of these teams that no one's ever heard of before. So
okay, speaking of that, let's talk about the sleeper teams we're going with, man. Who do you like, man? Go moving forward.
Yeah, so in the spirit of, some of the rules this year and with some of these long shots coming through, you saw Virginia come down with a serious case of COVID. You saw Kansas coming down with COVID. Yep. Who knows if a guy from Baylor comes down with COVID or, gets injured all of a sudden. Imagine you're Illinois and your star player, Ayo Dosunmu, gets injured again. A lot can happen during this tournament, especially when you're playing these, closely contested games in short periods of time. So, let's look at William Hill. Let's see what they have to offer, and then let's take a look at kind of some of these prices.
Okay. Now, this is great, man. I didn't know this before, but William Hill, you can actually bet on the conference winner, which is it's amazing, man. I love that, Like, example.
Yeah, so you could bet on each region. And for people who don't, think this way, betting on the region winner is the exact same as betting on Final Four. Just so, the average person out there can understand. So think about it, 2 games removed from the finals. It's the same as betting Final Four on DraftKings or FanDuel or some other book. So I'm excited to kind of see what they have to offer. And, taking a quick glance before the show, it seemed like they have some pretty crazy prices out there.
Now, hey, Danny, so why is Michigan still the favorite to win the East region? I don't understand that. Like, they're done.
Yeah, I think they're still highly rated. Obviously, they lost that guy you were talking about, Livers, who was a pretty good player from them.
A really good
but they
player.
haven't seemed as dominant of a team as people make it out to be. People were saying that effectively this tournament was Gonzaga, Baylor, and Michigan. Just 2 weeks ago. I think you can argue that Illinois is the best team in the country right now. Better than all of them. And no one was even talking about them 2 weeks ago. So
I wasn't.
That shows you just how quickly college basketball changes. And, in this one and done tournament, one team has a good shooting night, one team doesn't have a good shooting night, and it's game out, especially for a tournament where everybody is shooting threes nowadays, and the 3-point line is closer than the NBA line.
I hate it. I'm going to sound like the old man. I hate it. I hate how the game is played today. All right, sorry. Carry on. Sorry. I hate it.
So the East region, if we look at the bracket quickly, let's just pull up the bracket so people can see the East region and what teams are in that. Right, it's that bottom left bracket.
Yeah, right down here.
I think, honestly, in my opinion, personal opinion, the weakest region of all the regions in the tournament. I think Michigan is by far the weakest number 1 seed.
Yeah.
And then they, you don't see really a dominant 3-7 seed in this region. So I think a lot of weird could happen in this region, and that's why I tend to like the kind of underdog teams and just seeing if we could find a team at a good price.
I mean, I do like Alabama, but you're right. Like, as a number 2, no, they're not that good. I mean, they barely. And
Alabama is also one of those teams that is entirely built on 3-point shooting. They don't have a dominant big man.
Nope.
They have a ton of guards, and they just shoot the 3. So, that type of team in a one-and-done type system, can get really hot and play really well, but, can also lose to a UConn or Maryland if they just have a bad shooting night.
Absolutely, 100%. That's why I would not go with Alabama. So I get you. So, okay, I love your reasoning. Okay, so what team do you like in this region then, man?
So the team I like in this region to start off with is actually Michigan State, which, funny enough, hasn't even gotten into the tournament yet. So I think we'll get an early game to sweat. Okay. I think let's look at the price for Michigan State quickly.
All right.
If we go to
Michigan
William
State.
Hill.
Oh, wow.
So they're 75 to 1. So obviously it's somewhat of a long shot. Don't get me wrong. But let's just take a quick look at kind of what DraftKings is offering for Michigan State to make the Final Four. And then we can, start figuring out if this is a good or bad bet or kind of what we think about it.
So to make Final Four for Michigan State, they're going to be all the way at the bottom here, most likely. So let's see.
So right there on the right under Syracuse.
Okay.
Virginia Tech. Yeah, they're 30 to 1 versus 75 to 1 is like a massive spread.
Big time.
And they're not a bad team. They're actually like quite a highly rated team. I think personally speaking, they shouldn't have even been in the playoff or play-in round. Personally speaking, they beat Michigan this year.
That's what I'm saying. That should have got them in right there.
Yeah. So let's just take a quick look at FanDuel, just to pull it up as well, just to see what FanDuel has to offer. Make sure we're getting the best price.
Why are you doing this to me? I don't like FanDuel. I don't like FanDuel. Why are you doing this to me?
We'll just show kind of what prices FanDuel is offering, just to make it clear to the viewers. Okay, you're going to have to go to
college basketball.
NCAA first, yeah.
All right, so
Final Futures at top.
Oh, Futures, okay, yeah.
And then to make Final Four. Also, for all the viewers out there, to make their Sweet 16 prices are all really bad. I wouldn't bet anything on to make Sweet 16 on FanDuel.
I just noticed that too. I was like, wow, why is this not... Okay, here we go. To make Final Four. Why are we... Oh, here we go. It's not like
press see more.
Oh, gotcha. They're going to be way at the bottom here. Here we go, Michigan
State. So 55 to 1. So the 75 to 1 is like by far the best price out there. I don't think it's, they're a dominant team by any means, but, they're going to be an 11th seed and they can for sure make a little run at it. So,
okay.
Let's try and lock in that 75 to 1 Michigan State.
Let's lock that in. That's why we want to line shop, folks. Line shopping is great. All right, how much are we putting on here?
Let's just play 500s across the board.
Across the board? Okay. So every bet today, we're going to place $500. Sounds good. 38. Oh man. Oh, I like how you think, my man. I like how you think.
We gotta get the long shots in. So
I'm definitely gonna be watching Thursday night now. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. You gotta have a little sweat on the play-in games, right? We can't have any day going by without a sweat. So
you know what? I see what you're saying. I do like this. I mean, because Michigan State is a solid team, and for that price, why the hell not? Right?
Yeah. Okay. They can make a little run.
They could.
I love their coach too. Izzo tends to have their players kind of gear up for the tournament.
Izzo always gets them ready. Yeah, he gets them ready to go. Yeah.
Gets them fired up.
Gets them fired up. So this could really be good, man. Okay. All right, accepted it. Great. So our first bet is in for Michigan State. Now, what about the Midwest region? Let's go over back to here. The Midwest, which, you know, it sucks. Drexel, Philly team against Illinois.
That's going to be a rough one to watch, I think. I think they're going to be like a 20-point dog. And
yeah, it's dude. Philadelphia is really excited for Drexel because they haven't been here for like a long time. Things like since the '90s, man. So this is a big deal in Philly, and now we get Illinois, and it's like, oh my god. But
yeah, it's going to be a tough one. So this side of the bracket, this team made a Cinderella run in the Pac-12 championship and won it, and that's how they got their seat. They won their conference tourney. I think they beat
Colorado.
They beat Colorado.
Yep.
I think they also beat they beat Colorado in the finals. You're
Colorado
totally
is a great team. I want to thank you, Colorado. If you're watching at home, thank you. You guys are awesome. Made my weekend. Okay, sorry.
So let's take a look at what price William Hill is offering on Oregon State, and
Okay.
we'll go from there.
So let's see. Midwest region for Oregon State. We're looking at, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, the 200 to 1. Let's just take a quick look at the other sports books first, just to make sure it's a good price.
So good.
We'll take a look at one of them just so.
To DraftKings.
So they're like to the left there under Georgetown, 60 to 1.
Okay.
If you just go down a little bit further.
On the left? Oh, here we go. Oregon State. Yeah, 61. You're right. Yep. Okay.
So 61 versus 200. Like, don't get me wrong. It's not like the 200 to 1 shot is going to come through every time. But,
Right.
you know, if you roll your dice and it does come through, you know, you make a little bit of equity there. So
Absolutely.
it's a good price to bet. And then if we just pull up, let's just go to FanDuel, for example, and just go to college basketball.
Okay.
Or Oregon, yeah. If we just go to the game lines, actually, we can take a look at what Oregon State is the line for the first round.
Oh,
if you
game
just go
lines.
up.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then we just look for Oregon State.
Oh, that's the
Probably
first
be,
floor, first round. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I think they'll be like a 6 or 7 point dog, is my guess.
That's it, really? Why is it not? They should be up by now, right? The line should be up.
Yeah, we can look at like any other sports.
Oh, here we
book.
go. It's just
here
it's
it
really
is.
slow
Just took
today.
a little to load.
Oh, 23-point favorites from Illinois. You're right. Yikes. Okay, Oregon State. Oh, 7.5. Okay.
Yeah, 7.5 point dog. So they're like a 3 to 1 dog. So don't get me wrong. By no means are they a favorite to win this game. But you know, at 200 to 1, you know,
Anything can happen.
7.5 is not the worst price you can get on a team.
Not at all. Okay. All right. So I guess we're gonna lock that in, right?
Yep, lock in the Oregon State.
Lock in Oregon State. No, and I don't want Cleveland State. We want Oregon State. Okay, Oregon State. So $500.
500.
Will get us. Whoa, Jesus, man. Wow. Okay.
So we're going to be praying for Oregon State as well. You know, we got a few teams now. We got Oregon State. We got some Purdue.
Wow.
The nice thing about these, this is all Final Four too, so we could have multiple winners. We could have a nice Purdue win and an Oregon State win.
Wow. That's okay. Yeah. This is going to be a really stressful March Madness for me, man.
I think it's going to be a rough first round, unfortunately, because we're betting so many bad teams. There's going to be a
Yeah.
decent chunk of them that get booted first round. But
like you said, anything can happen, especially this year with COVID and injuries. It's
absolutely.
I know the review process is taking a while, so give us a second here.
As you said, you know, how many times did a 7 point dog lose in the conference championship games? If you think about it, you know. Oregon State was more than a 7 point dog to Colorado, I think, in the championship.
I was about to say that, yeah. Now, I thankfully jumped off there. I think Kanish told me this. You got to jump off at the right time, and I jumped off at the right time. I really did. So, but yeah, and they handled them pretty easily, man. I mean, it was a really good game. They handled them really well. So Oregon State can do that. Okay, it took it 100.
Yeah, I think it took a little bit of time, but
So I'm rooting
right.
for Oregon State the whole entire time, man. That's what
exactly.
I'm doing. Oh, we're gonna be sweating the first round. All right, let's go back to the bracket. Let's talk about the West region now, I guess. So the Gonzaga region which they
the
should be.
Gonzaga region.
They should.
They should be doing well. You know, do you know what we need, Ron?
We're
going to have to send in Virginia as a sacrificial lamb. They're going to have to make it up until playing Gonzaga, and then they're going to have to pass them the COVID. You know, both teams get DQ'd, and then we're off to the races.
They were all good, man. We're fine.
Sacrificial lamb. You know, it is what it is.
Come on, Virginia. Let's go. Let's do it, Virginia.
Exactly. The team that I like in this region, actually, a few teams that I like in this region. The first one of which is Oregon.
Okay.
At 50-1, the 7 seed.
Okay. Right.
Surprisingly, a decent team.
They are.
They're going to play VCU first round.
Which they can win.
And actually, I think we have to bet both of these teams, both Oregon and VCU.
Oregon
at William Hill.
So why, let me get your reasoning for this. Why both teams?
Yeah, so I just think both prices are extremely bad. If we go to William Hill first.
Okay.
And we take a look at Oregon. I think they're something like 50-1.
Are they? All right, here we go.
Oregon.
Yeah, 50-1. Okay.
Which, you know, if you think about it extrapolated to win the championship, that's something like, you know, 350-1 to win the championship. And I think that's like way too high of a price for a 7th seed. And then, you know, just doing the typical line shopping stuff we do if we just go to DraftKings or FanDuel, like, I think you're going to see Oregon at a much lower price. Let's go to DraftKings just because I think FanDuel is taking like a while.
So Oregon's at 25-1.
25-1, which is like literally half the price. So you can see like a lot of these teams, especially on the high end of pricing, you know, when you're betting these 50-1, 60-1s, whatever it is, for some reason, these sports books tend to have massive spreads in what they're offering these teams at. So, you know, betting a 50-1, you know, versus a 25-1 might not seem like a big difference because they're both long shots, but, you know, eventually one of them is going to pull through. You know, one of your 50-1 shots is going to win. So if you're betting your 50-1s at a constantly better price, when that one does pull in, you're going to win a lot more than you're going to be losing, even though they're a long shot.
Nice. Okay, so 500 on Oregon.
Yep, 500 on Oregon.
25. Okay, that's a nice payout, man. 25,000. Okay. All right.
Yeah, not shabby at all.
Not too shabby at all. Okay. And then you also did say VCU, correct?
VCU.
No, okay.
Correct.
Because you love the price on that.
Yeah, it's just I think a really good price.
All right, let's do 500 on that. Wow, 75,000. Oh my God, man, this is. If you're going to follow us during our live reactions, I might literally have a heart attack. So I advise you to follow me, Ronnie P145, on live reactions. All right, it's going to be great. All right, we're going to place it, Danny. VCU, 500 on VCU.
It's nice. You know, at least one of them is making it to the next round, right? You know, Oregon or VCU, at least one of them's getting there.
At least one's going to go, man. At least one's going to go far. Now, what about Missouri, man? Were you talking about Missouri earlier?
Yeah, I like Missouri as well at
you like Missouri
at
too?
100-1.
Now once this goes.
It's always the bigger payouts if you've noticed that they get more scrutiny by the traders.
Yeah, Okay, here we go. Accept offer.
Oh, what happened?
Yes, accept
what offer?
Same thing. All right, done. We're good.
Okay, weird.
All right.
And then Missouri.
And then Missouri. All right. So we're going to put 500 on Missouri. Correct. And that's going to give us 50,000. Oh, wow. Jeez, man. Jeez. Okay. 500 on Missouri. And let's just look on the bracket to see who's Missouri, where they're playing.
Yeah, what the line is for the first round.
So the West region is where it's at for us, man.
Yeah, as you said, we're hoping Virginia, you know, gives Gonzaga COVID and, some of these other teams can pull it out.
All right, so the West of Missouri. Where's Missouri at? Missouri. Okay, they'll beat Oklahoma. I can see that. And then hopefully
it's interesting. It's like one of these weird things. If you look at the first round line for Missouri versus Oklahoma, let's just go to DraftKings, for example.
Okay.
And then look at game lines.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And then just go to Missouri if we could find it.
Yeah, that's probably the first tricks. Missouri.
It's always at the bottom when we're looking for
Always
things.
at-
Haven't
here
you
we go,
noticed that?
Missouri
Oh, there we go. They're
minus
2-point dogs to. No, they're 2-point underdogs to Oklahoma.
Underdogs,
but if we
yeah.
look at the price for Oklahoma, let's say, just go to Oklahoma to make the Final Four,
Okay.
for example, on DraftKings.
On William Hill?
Oh, sure. William Hill doesn't matter.
All right, cool. All right.
They're like half the price, and they're pretty much even teams, call it a 2-point dog.
Right.
And I think Oklahoma is a decent price to bet as well, honestly, but we'll leave that one.
We'll leave that. We'll give him 1, right? Okay.
Or we could bet Oklahoma as well, whatever, we can lock into Oklahoma. Then we're just fading a Gonzaga second round.
So we just
A
got to
tough
hope
second
Gonzaga
round.
gets bounced. Okay. And now that's why the odds are so big, because Gonzaga is quote unquote the best team and they're not going to lose. Is that what they're trying? They're trying to get you to.
I believe so.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't mind. I think we should bet Oklahoma as well, personally. I think 50 to 1's a good price.
Want to do Oklahoma too?
Yeah, let's bet Oklahoma, and then we'll just take off one of these crazy long shots that,
that
we're
works.
planning on.
All right, let's do that. So 500 in Oklahoma.
Yep.
25. Okay. So like you said, at least one's going to the second round, so we're good on that.
Exactly.
Right.
And we're just fading the Gonzaga second round game.
Okay, we're good.
Awesome. And then the last, team that I was looking to bet was, now we have a choice. If we look at the bracket,
In the South region, correct?
we were looking at either North Texas or Winthrop. I personally think Winthrop is a slightly better bet than North Texas. I think it's a slightly better price. So why don't we bet Winthrop to beat Villanova? Also, Villanova is injured with
Gillespie,
their
best
guy
player.
you was telling me about. Yeah.
Yep, he's out. And
So I think
I said this on In the Crosshairs that they're not the same team with him gone. And the 3 games they lost with him in, he played like crap. And now him being out, you saw in the Big East tournament what happened to him. They got bounced in the first round. So yeah, this could happen, man. It's a classic 5-12 matchup. Winthrop is a very good team. I know they're in a crappy division, so this really could happen, man. It does.
Yeah, and then we should take a look at quickly what the line for that game is. Villanova
All right, let's
with
go look
Winthrop.
at the
I think
line.
Villanova's probably only going to be like a 5 or 6 point favorite.
That's what I would believe too. All right, DraftKings we'll
Call
look
it
at.
best. Yep.
All right, so on DraftKings, here we go. 6.5 point favorite.
Yeah,
Oh,
6.5
wow.
point favorite.
Wow, yeah.
So I think it's a very winnable game.
That's it. Yeah.
And I think it could get bet down. I think actually 6.5 is a little much, personally speaking. But
Yeah.
so why don't we place $500 on Winthrop to make it? I also think the price on Winthrop is a little bit crazy, if I remember correctly.
And you said that's
It's,
the
further
South
down.
region, the very last. Whoa, wait.
Oh no, it's up.
Up some. Okay, that's right.
It's the one with Illinois, if I remember correctly.
Oh, South should be here. South.
Oh,
Oh, Villanova.
Baylor,
Yep,
sorry.
so it's here. It's at Winthrop. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, 250 to 1, which I think is.
yeah.
I've noticed that William Hill on the long shot bets are often very mispriced. Personally, they're way overpricing the bad teams.
Yeah, they really do.
Or underpricing the bad teams. Personally,
Why can't you be in Pennsylvania, William Hill? Why can't you be in Pennsylvania? Danny, 125,000. Oh, my God. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We're doing this?
yes, we are. Lock it in and.
Sorry,
we'll go
Nova
to
fans.
DraftKings.
Wow. Okay. We're in, man. We're in. All right. So, let's go long shots. I mean, this is the year. So, if it's going to take
Hopefully, one of them pulled through.
Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. This is going to be a very exciting tournament. Is this how your life, just adventure?
Usually, the most of the time, actually, we are betting, 2 or 3K per, these 250 to 1 long shots. Really, it's just we want to make this show a little more relatable for the average bettor, and the average bettor isn't going to bet 3K on a 250 to 1 long shot. So
No, I mean,
hopefully,
me personally, I bet 2, 3 if I like something a lot,
100,
500. So yeah, I hope my wife's not
Exactly.
watching that.
So I think this is kind of in the range of what the average bettor would do. So
No,
We
absolutely.
want to make it a little more relatable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me show you one cool thing.
Yeah.
Remember we bet Oregon State literally 5 seconds ago at 200 to 1.
Right.
This is how you typically can tell if you're betting a good number or not. Is the sports books will move the number against you after you bet it, because their traders, when they're going through the review process, will take a look and say, is that a good or bad bet type thing, and whether to approve it or not.
Really?
You know, because we're only betting $500, or like, okay, it's only a $500 risk to us. Okay, we'll approve it. But as soon as we bet it, they look at the number and say, oh, actually, our number was off. And they moved it closer to probably what it should be, which is closer to like 80 to 1 or something like that. So you can see they moved it from 200 to 1 to 125 to 1.
Wow.
In the span of, you know.
In a span
and
of
if
like
you
minutes.
check all our bets at the end of this show, I guarantee you at least 50 or 60% of our bets will have moved similarly to that.
Well, they did from the last time we placed them. I saw already from the earlier shows.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's just one tip for people. If you're looking to know if you're betting good or bad futures, if they're moving against you, it typically means you're betting the bad side of the line, or if they're not moving at all, if you're betting good sides of the lines, they'll probably move against you after you bet them.
Damn, I like that, Danny. I like that a lot. Damn, that's great.
So we now have the best price probably in the world on Oregon State to make the Final Four. We're probably going to be the only people in the world rooting for Oregon State, but hey, we'll be Lone Rangers on this one.
That's all right. I'll take it. I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
All right, why don't we go to DraftKings and round out the program?
All right, let's go to DraftKings and log back in. Now, what are you thinking in DraftKings here? Like, what else are we looking at? I mean, we got some really good long shots here. What else do you like, man?
Yeah, I think we were looking at some more long shots actually, and some of these, you know, decent-ish teams that we're looking at.
Are we going to talk about my Colorado? The Colorado that won me a lot of money this week.
I think you were telling me about how good this team was, so I was looking into it. I liked where your head was at.
Listen, they have great guard play. They have a nice big. Ah, man, they play hard, man. I don't know what happened on Saturday night. I don't care, rather. But the whole entire tournament.
As long as they show up.
Yes, yeah, exactly, man, exactly. All right. And
so what I like about Colorado specifically is the bracket, or the part of the bracket that they're in. You know, part of the difficulty with betting some of the long shots that we're betting, obviously, is they're in a bracket with Illinois. They're in a bracket with Gonzaga, which are kind of recognized as the best teams in the country.
Right.
As you mentioned, you know, Michigan, which is one of the teams that we are looking at, you know, obviously had a big injury to one of their seniors' livers.
Yep.
Which hurts their team. You know, they're not the same team.
Big time.
And if you look at the rest of the bracket, it's, you know, if someone told me they could guarantee me what team was coming out of this bracket, I'd be very surprised. So, you know, it's nice to bet these longer shots in this bracket. We already picked up Michigan State, which was a longer shot, and we'll pick up a couple more teams, I think, that are, you know, a little bit on the crazier side.
Do you believe in Alabama or LSU? Because I really don't, to be honest with you. I don't.
Yeah, I think, you know, they're good teams. Alabama is like one of these teams that shoots a lot of threes.
Yeah.
And I think we were chatting about this. You know, you have one bad night shooting a lot of threes. It's a tough road to
you're
go
done.
down. So
yeah,
it's hard to bet chalk. You know,
Yeah.
I think Alabama's like 4-1 to win this conference. I think, or win this region. It's tough to bet chalk when you're one of those teams.
No, I
So
definitely hear that.
let's take a look at Colorado first.
Okay, and this is to
I think
make
I
the Final
saw
Four.
them somewhere. Yeah.
All right, so
If you go to team futures.
Futures and to make Final
To make
Four.
Final Four. And just to be clear, to make Final Four was the exact same as winning your conference.
Oh yeah, yes.
So
absolutely.
I saw them at 16.5 to 1.
Okay, so they should be in the middle here then.
Under
There we go.
Loyola
16.5,
Chicago.
right here.
Which I think is a very fair price.
It's a really fair price.
So I think, you know, why don't we bet 500 on them?
Wow, 8,007. Okay, okay. Wow.
Yeah, not a bad payday.
Oh,
and because we're betting to make the Final Four, we can win a few of these, you know, so
We
they're
could,
not
man.
mutually exclusive, which is nice.
All right, so Colorado to make Final Four.
Yep.
We locked in on that.
Lock that
Look how
in,
quick that
and
was,
then we
too.
will- Yeah, it's nice and quick, small amount too, so.
Okay.
The other team that I really liked on this list is one of the teams that we've been betting already, which is Purdue.
Purdue.
It's the question is, do we add any more, or do we have enough Purdue already? I think we can add a little bit more. So
Why not? I'll tell you what, that 7-footer looks nice, man. He looks nice.
exactly. Edey, he was one of the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, I think, or all team freshman, I guess.
Right.
He's like 7 foot, I think 4 or 7 foot
Yeah, he's
5.
a big boy.
And he's like an 85% free throw shooter randomly. Like
It's unheard of.
I think it's like really funny, but you know, they're like a very solid team, young though, so they're going to be hungry.
Yeah, of course.
So why don't we put another 500 on Purdue?
Okay. Well, okay, that's going to 7,500. That's a good payday too.
So I think out of our less long shot positions, I think Purdue is by far our best position, I think.
Well, looking at the bracket with Purdue, it's winnable for them. It is very winnable. They'll beat North Texas. They can beat Winthrop. I mean,
Nova's not that dangerous.
Nova, if Nova does get
it's
through,
really you have to hope that Carolina or Wisconsin or Hartford knock out Baylor.
Exactly, but Baylor is beatable.
If they have to play Baylor, they have to play Baylor. I think they'll be a small dog to Baylor, obviously.
Yeah, I mean Baylor's beatable. They lost. They're beatable. I mean, yeah, they're beatable. We're good. I love this Purdue pick, man. I really do. I think this is one of our strongest picks, man. I love it a lot. All right, so
if they lose to North Texas, none of this ever happened, right? So.
Yeah. Delete the tapes.
Exactly.
All right, and then I guess
I think the final team we were looking at was BYU. Similar thought process to Colorado. Bad part of the bracket, I think, and a very good price.
Yeah, no, where are they?
25-1 on the right side.
Oh, okay, yep, right here. Pass it again. 25-1 on the side. Okay. So 500.
So we'll place 500 on BYU.
Wow, come on BYU. Let's go BYU. And we're in.
And just to make a point to people, if you look at BYU on the Final Four here, and you look right underneath to Missouri, 25-1. Remember, we just bet that exact same bet at 100-1 on the other side, if you remember. So that's just like, when you look at it at 20-5-1, it seems a lot more reasonable than betting something at 100-1. But you have to remember that some of these are long shots. And if you look at VCU, for example, at 40-1, we just bet that at 150-1.
Yep, right here. Danny, you are a genius, man. I mean, Jesus.
Just to show you some of the crazy numbers that pop up. And I think there's also other long shots. Oregon State was 60-1 we showed.
Oregon State, yep, right over here, yep. And Danny, how long have you been doing this for? Because you just seem like you're a natural at this. Like you just know the right lines and numbers.
Yeah, I think it's actually when you look at this stuff enough, you start remembering what certain teams are in terms of pricing. So I don't, do that much research on college basketball by any means. I'm not an in-depth handicapper on college basketball. But, when we're doing these shows, I can, 10, 15 minutes before the show, kind of take a quick look at the lines and say, hey, this number is off compared to this number, and you can start seeing these big spreads really quickly, especially when they're this egregious. It's harder for me to see the difference between like a 50 or 60-1. But when I'm looking at something that's, effectively 25-1 and I see it at 100-1 somewhere else, that triggers an alarm bell in my head, which is what's going on and, is that something to look at? Yeah. And then there's, a few sources I look at to see what's reasonable and then, figure out if it's a good bet or not from there.
Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below. Do you like these picks? Are you going to take Purdue? Are you with us on Purdue and Oregon State? What are you thinking about this? Are we crazy for this? Are you going to join us for the ride?